folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Online. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show. Today we are honored to have the one and only Fred Bonig from the Daily Ripple. Anyway, you know we're here at Netroots Nation, and we're here to have some good fun as well as learn, educate, entertain, make sure that people know all that's going on in our body politic, and to make sure that we make a difference. But anyway, Fred, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a great time here.
Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, we have the Daily Ripple. It's a news aggregator called thedailyripple.org. And, we do a lot of work with center-left news sources and things like that. So we don't have any advertising, we don't have any pop-ups, and we don't ask for emails. It's just a news aggregator that you can see news all day long.
Oh, well, that's great. Let me see. Are you guys having some audio problems with us? Did I hear low audio? Okay, if the audio is low, maybe I can try to do something about that. Tell me if that makes a difference. Let's go ahead. Is that any better? Audio's still low. Well, I'm trying. I think I turned her all the way up to see if we can get some better audio for you. Okay, it's good now. All right, I guess our audio is good now.
Well, they're a moment behind.
They're a moment behind. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great program for you. So tell me a little bit about what you think of our current body politic.
Well, I think that we have a president that is doing an amazing job.
Right.
That we have a lot of people who are wringing their hands, worrying about him. And I'm figuring that every day he goes to work and he does it every day, and he's been bringing it along. So because you have a bad night at a thing, I don't think debating is important.
I think people are more concerned about that, but the truth of the matter is we are in such a stage right now that my opinion is I really don't care who the hell is on top of the Democratic ticket.
It could be a D with a goat. I get it.
I want to make sure that people go out there, they go out there and vote, because what we're looking at right now are existential problems to the democracy in the United States of America. And that is something that you don't play with at all.
Well, we people look at our democracy and they say, well, there's problems, but wait till we don't have one, and boy, they'll really see the problem.
Then they'll really see what the problem looks like. Because again, it is true that there is that it is necessary. Oh wait, I'm in Kingwood, Texas, and they're telling me that it's raining. But anyhow,
in Texas?
Well, the funny thing about it is, I do know the hurricane just came through Texas,
all through Houston,
and it knocked out Houston. I don't have any power. We're on generator power right now in Houston. But anyway, so as we progress and talk about what we expect out of the 2024, what do you expect our path from now to November to ensure that we don't have I
think the same path that we took in 2022 is get out the voters, get people interested, get them excited. Also, to remind them how dangerous what could happen and will happen if they don't. To be really sure that if Donald Trump, who I've met 3 times, if he gets in power and they pull in this Project 2025, which I've taken the course, I went through their whole learning thing,
right?
And it's a scary bunch. And they're not. If people are just learning about it, we've been working on it for over a year. That they will lose everything they know and love about this country, because the people that are involved truly are Christian white nationalists.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about Tony Perkins, you're talking about Dobson, you're talking about Kirk, you're talking about all these guys. These are Christian fundamentalists. And back in 2012 or 2015, Donald Trump stood in front of the Value Voters Summit, held up his pristine Bible.
Right.
I have a picture of it because I was standing in front of him, and that his mom gave him when he was 9 years old. And it was, and the people were laughing at him because they were like, he never opened it.
Exactly.
But the next year, they all switched over. Well, part of that is because of Michael Cohen and Pecker having the pictures of the pool boy and the stuff for Jerry Falwell. And when they convinced him that they were going to let it out, he then became a supporter of Donald Trump all of a sudden. The guy who's not a Christian.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
2 Corinthians,
It is amazing that they are the ones that the good guy in Biden, or the good people that profess the values that they stand for, that those are the ones that don't get the support.
But they've also been brainwashed, or whatever you want to call it, by 30 years of Fox News talking anti-government stuff.
Right.
And of course we understand how that happened, because we had rural people watching the Weather Channel for many years.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden they switched over to Fox News and they took away the desk. And they put hot-looking women on couches and they lowered the camera. And the next thing you know, you have rural white guys watching TV all day.
You know what is interesting? We're looking at the chat right now, and the chat says, Lee Grant, I have a lot of people from many different persuasions, ideologies, and I love them all. They are all a part of what we call the PDR posse. Now, my brother, in the chat that you're looking at, Brother Lee Grant and Brother Eric Hayes, they are both very conservative. And Lee Grant thinks that Project 2025 sounds like a boogeyman. What would you tell him about?
Has he read the 900 pages?
And that's the thing. That is the thing, Lee Grant. You really need to read it to see it. Hey, you really need to read it to actually go further in there. But I want to say one thing. Anoa. If folks, this is live. Anoa. I just want to let you know that I'm live and I have a segment. No. You're not doing anything wrong. I'm saying I'm live and in about 20. I have after him another person. If you have the wherewithal to do so.
You said 20 minutes?
In 20 minutes. Okay, excellent. Great. Anyhow, coming back to you, Fred. Tell him about Project 2025.
All right. Well, the thing about Project 2025, this is a large bunch of organizations that have been working together for a very long time.
Right.
The Heritage Foundation has been working for a very long time, trying to make anti-intellectual,
right?
Demonizing schools, saying all the colleges are a bunch of liberals or a bunch of socialists and all these things. They've also talked about changing the work, getting rid of overtime. There's all these things are in there. If they download it from their site, they could use a word search.
Well, I have the entire 900 pages on my website.
Right.
But here's what Lee is saying as well. Lee is saying the problem leftists have with Project 2025 is that they don't tolerate opinions that are different from theirs. But what he doesn't understand is within Project 2025 are policies that will hurt him.
Right.
It's not just the policies that will hurt lefties. And it's policies that would hurt you as well.
And as he might not understand about me for what I do, but I've probably been to more right-wing events than he has.
Right.
I know more right-wing pundits than him. I mean, I've met Mark Levin. I've met, Sean Hannity. I've been on those shows. I've been with all these guys. I know them all. I've met Biden.
You've been on Sean Hannity's show.
Yeah, and I've been. I've met Glenn Beck. I know all these guys. My Christmas card was from the Heritage.
Right.
I mean, I got. I'm sitting there in their thing.
Right.
The point is, what they want to do is if you look at, there's a program called Ordinary Men.
Right.
Ordinary Men. And it's about how they got ordinary people in Germany.
Right.
To become the police who killed all the people. And they were ordinary men because they kept telling them all these lies that they believed. And they programmed to believe that some people aren't as human as others. They dehumanize people. Right. When you have people saying the words invasion, there's an invasion of foreigners. Well, in New York City, in 1900, between 1900 and 1910, millions of people came from Europe. Millions. They went through Ellis Island with an average of 2 hours in Ellis Island, and they were allowed to work. They were allowed to go right to work. And so this country has had millions of people coming here from the time of Reagan. In 1986, 1.6 million people were apprehended at the border.
Right.
1.6 million. In 2000, 1.65 million. This is not new. Donald Trump came in there was less than 500,000 people coming at the border. And by 2019, it had gone up to 1 million.
He really doesn't have anything to stand on. But look, Fred, I just wanted you to be on the show.
Tell him to read, go through it. And then look at where it makes sense.
Well, I don't have to tell him. You just told him.
Please do that.
Look, I got to go to Mark now and talk to Mark about his book. I just wanted to give you a chance to come on and say hi. After all, you also got my book. It's worth it. How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends. Yes, I will. When you write your book, what do you write? Oh, where is it?
It's called Keeping Time by the River.
I said you got my email. Did you get my card?
Yeah.
Send me the card so that I can actually add it to my Kindle.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, boss.
My pleasure, man. Take care. All right. Hey, Mark, come on in. But before I get to Mark, I want to salute all of my peeps. And who are those? Oh, wow, you guys have a lot of messages already. We have in the house Bruce Pollard from Kingwood, Texas. We also have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. We have in the house Lee Grant from Montgomery County. We also have AVQ. And who is AVQ? Our brother from Brooklyn, New York. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. Bridge, great to have you in the house. We also have, let's see, I'm scrolling down. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Texas. We also have in the house May Wood from Long Beach, California. We have in the house Stygen Burgeon King, and I can never remember where you're from. I imagine that you'll tell me down below. Lizard Queen, good afternoon, Lizard Queen. How are you doing? We want to also say hi to, I'm scrolling in, E2247 from all over. E2247, thank you for giving us all that information. Anyway, I'm here today again with, this is my second round. The first round, we lost all the audio, and luckily he was doing another interview that gave me the opportunity to talk to him. He is the author of How Democrats Can Win Back Men. Again, the title is How Democrats Can Win Back Men. Senor Mark W. Sutton. How can Democrats win back men?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And the Democratic Party, first of all, I think the most important thing to acknowledge, in fact, that they have been losing among men. So if you look at the presidential elections for the last 50 years, Democrats have been becoming more of the women's party, and the Republicans have been doing much better with men. So we've got to win those men back. So that's the first thing to acknowledge. There is something that we have to win back. And there's two reasons we need to do this. One, because it'll help us win. And number two, because it's the right thing to do morally. Because a lot of our men and boys, and I'm talking about all men and boys of all races, all ages, ability levels, sexualities, everything, the whole rainbow of all men, we're seeing lower outcomes. We're seeing them doing bad in education. Men's life expectancy is now 5.9 years less than women.
You know, you just said something there. You just said about they're doing much worse. It's interesting that the other day I was hearing about affirmative action for men because as it turns out, there are more women going to colleges now. Women seem to be doing a whole lot more. I just wanted to kind of interject that.
Well, that's the interesting thing about universities. Men are doing so badly in school, boys and men, that now universities, even doing affirmative action in the favor of boys to get accepted to university, our universities are 60% female, 40% male.
Right.
Even with the help that we're trying to help the boys, they're still trailing by that much. But I think if the Democrats can focus on men's issues that fall right in line with Democratic Party principles, while still supporting women and girls, and I really want to emphasize that because it's so important. I still, and my ideas in my book, are still supporting women and girls, but we need to do a better job of appealing to the male voting bloc. Because historically, when Democrats have lost the male vote by more than 8%, they have lost every single time. This has happened for the last 50 years. Every single time they've been at minus 8% or above among men, they have won. So as long as they can just do okay with men, just not that bad with men, we're doing great with women and girls. We're doing great with the women voters. Keep that up. Do everything you're doing with the women voters. Just throw us a bone. I like to say, come on, Joe, throw us a bone. I mean, we just need let's get a men's health office. because, to help men with mental health is another big issue for men. Men are committing about 78% of the suicides in this country. Now, I don't want anyone to commit suicide. I think it's always sad. And, if you're a family member of someone who has been through that or even attempted that, you know how sad that is. And at that moment, you don't care about gender or statistics or politics. You just care about your loved one. But as policymakers and as the Democratic Party, we really need to look at these things that are affecting men worse. Look at the prison industrial complex. I think most Democrats agree.
I think they said they're not hearing you very well.
Oh, okay. Let me change this. How about that? If I just hold it, is that okay?
Yeah, that's
okay.
better.
I'll just hold it. Sorry. So, as I was saying, the Democratic Party just needs to do a better job of messaging to male voters. And I think, some of the issues that everyone in the Democratic Party feels very strongly about, they line up well with helping the well-being of men. So we're just talking about the prison industrial complex. Now, there's also, there's 93% of the people in prison, unfortunately, are male. Now, there's other factors as well, racial inequities.
Right.
There are way too many black men in prison proportionally compared to white men, but there's still way more proportional white men in prison than women of color. So there's still a lot of men in prison, and if we can work on the prison industrial complex, I believe that is a male gender issue, and it's okay to say so. There's nothing wrong with that. And
No,
I think it'll help get male votes. Yeah.
The Democratic Party is always considered the party of an identity. People always say we have so many identities.
Yes.
It's confusing and that, and sort of a lot of men would say they get left holding the stick. And I think, in effect, you are saying that, but not in the negative way, in that if everyone whose vote you're looking for need to be cared for.
Exactly.
In other words, it's not that you're asking that other identities not be cared for, but in the process, not because we are a patriarchal society, which we are, that doesn't mean that all men form part of that patriarchy.
Right. Just because all presidents have been men doesn't mean all men have power or that all men's issues have been addressed. That's exactly right. And I just really hope that people get that message. And I'm glad you appreciate that. It's a positive message. I call it the all demographic strategy. Mm-hmm. So Howard Dean, if you remember him, he had the 50 state strategy. Right. Let's go after, we're going to support our Democrats no matter where they are. If they're in Alabama or Mississippi, states that are not likely to vote Democrat, they still supported the people. We still need to do that exact same thing, but instead of geographically, demographically.
Right.
We need to support everyone. So anyone walking in the room should say, hey, the Democrats support me because of who I am. That's great. They listen to my issues. They listen to my problems. If the Democrats can just get a few percentage of those moderate male voters who are on the fence, or maybe very lightly Democrat or very lightly Republican, those people in the middle, let's get a few percentage by just appealing to men. And it's okay to say the word men and boys in the Democratic Party platform, in the speeches to the public. It's okay to say, hey, men, you're hurting right now. You're dying 5.9 years earlier. You're having deaths of despair, suicide, opioid overdose, alcoholic liver disease. All these things are affecting you. We want to know that we're here for you too. We're here for you too, and we want your vote, and we're going to work with you. We're going to create an Office of Men's Health and Well-Being. There was a bill created for that, so it's not. I'm not the first person to suggest this. There was the late congressman from New Jersey, Representative Payne, and then sadly he died at the age of 65 this spring. But he was the one advocating for this Office of Men's Health, and I think we should carry on his legacy and do that. I don't think that diminishes anyone else by supporting male health.
I think I'm sufficiently convinced that we put resources where we find problems, and if we find that there's an increase in suicide in men, if we find that that men are more violent, if we find all those things, it is incumbent on us to invest the resources to mitigate that particular problem. Yeah. Likewise, women have distinct problems of the way society treats women in general. That's why we have affirmative action. That's why we have DEI and all these other things. All of it is necessary. What the problem that many have is, just as you present the very strong points that we need to take care of men, absolutely so. But in the same process, we need to make sure that all folks that are not being cared for their particular identity demographic or whatever, that is handled.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. Again, that's why I call it the all demographic strategy. If you look at the 2020 Democratic Party platform, men's and boys issues are just not mentioned. They just don't bring them up. If you read between the lines, you can say, oh, they seem to care about opioid overdose. Well, that's good. And again, I don't want anyone to die of an opioid overdose. But the fact is, it's about 75% of the people who are dying of opioid overdose are male.
Right.
So, and there's actually been studies that prove there's something about the male brain that make us more susceptible to opioid overdose than women. So there's even a biological reason that men are doing it. It's not just social, it's a combination of social and biological, but there's actually biological things about the male body that make us more susceptible to overdose. I don't think there's anything wrong with just acknowledging publicly available data.
I think, again, the issues, and I think earlier with the interview that we did before I lost the audio, you made a very important statement, and it had to do with progressives. You said, I hope progressives will open their minds. And I told you, being a progressive mean you have an open mind. So those progressives that you're addressing to without an open mind, that would take offense to you saying we ought to look out for. I mean, let me give let's put a little bit more stuff into this.
Okay.
That is to say, you're a white guy. Are there something specific that affect white guys? Because you are a white guy who is the power structure in America, does that mean that we shouldn't support the ills that affect? No, I think in effect we have to look at the totality of whoever has an issue that needs caring for us to care of. And in the process of doing that, we would also knock out patriarchy or white supremacy, or all these other ills that society suffers from.
Right.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. If we help everyone, everyone's going to be better off.
There you go.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. And, I just think it's really important to understand the facts and the data on the ground as far as voting goes. So, there's the moral reason, which we've been talking about, the moral reason to help everyone.
Right.
There's also the strategic reason. If the Democrats do not get enough votes from men, they will lose.
Well, that is a statement of fact.
And right now, they're getting crushed among men by the Republicans. I don't like the Republican messaging. And let me make this clear. I don't agree with a lot of their messaging. However, 2 of the Republican senators wrote major pieces of work that directly addressed men and at least focused on what they believe to be male gender issues that you might not agree with. It was Senator Josh Hawley and Senator Marco Rubio. Senator Josh Hawley wrote a book about masculinity. Senator Marco Rubio issued a report on the status of men. And I think there's some good things in there, some things I don't agree with. Let me make that clear.
Right.
But at least they addressed men. Where's President Biden's report to men? Nothing. It doesn't exist.
What is interesting with the way Republicans do things? They always mix a measure of truth. That just a timeout.
Okay.
They always put some elements of truth surrounded by misinformation, lies, and disguises. And that's what makes their messaging effective, by tying a little bit of truth with the rest, and that's what you get. But I mean, you know what? I tell you what, I'm glad that you wrote this book. Folks, the name of the book is How Democrats Can Win Back Men. And I know when my brother here, Mark Sutton, says that we need to look out for men too. I know a whole lot of progressive, the initial jolt is, well, men have been dominant anywhere. Now it's time to look after everybody else. There are 2 answers that I give to that. And, I pay homage to the brother here that says, yeah, for those men that are having issues, we should look into. And for the people listening, remember, you do have sons, you do have fathers, you do have brothers, and you love them just as much as they love you. So, I mean, I think taking notice of this makes sense in the proper context.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's what I ask people to do. Think of somebody in your life, a father, a brother, a child, a coworker, a colleague, a friend.
Right.
Everyone, we're all interconnected, and helping all of us just supports everyone.
Mark W. Sutton.
Yes.
Author of How Democrats Can Win Back Men.
Available on Amazon. Thank you.
He wants me to say available on Amazon. And you can take the snapshot of the card that he has here.
All right.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, take care. Have a great day. All right, folks, we're continuing with the show. Let me be frank, folks. I have not seen the news. I have not scanned my Twitter. I have not scanned my anything. Guess why? Because I don't know. I'm probably on my 15th or 16th interview, if not more, for the day. And it's going like bangers right now. So let me tell you, folks, here's the deal. If there's any news that I need to know about, start throwing it in the chat because I don't have it. So start throwing it in the chat if there's something that I need to talk about. And it's difficult for me to scroll up right now because my eyes are going anyway. But anyway, so far we're having a great Netroots Nation 2024. Yeah, it's 2024. I'm expecting another guest. I'm looking to see if I see her yet. I don't see her around yet, but she likely will come shortly. I had some great interviews today. Let me see. I interviewed Tim Wise. Tim Wise is a race activist. I think all of you are going to love that interview that we did with him. That will be likely one of the first interviews that I play. I also had the Lieutenant Governor of Vermont in with us. I think he's a progressive of progressives is what I call him. We also had the senator from Vermont, the state senator, a couple of state senators from Vermont that we had with. Let's see, Egberto, you'll have time to read chat while you're waiting for your next interviews. You know what I like with Rodnin? He's a bit practical. No, he's very practical. Hey, instead of telling us who you've interviewed, we'll see that when you come back to Houston. Start reading out some of the damn chats. Okay, I'm going to read out some of the chats that you have there because you know what? You guys earned it. Let's see what we got here. No, I got to get a little bit closer though, because it's a little bit far from here. Let's see. The last chat said, Egberto, Willies, Biden's speech had people interviewed before and after speech. People change their minds to stay with Biden. Biden had a few gaffes, but was so good with answers. Look, at this point, Breach, I really don't care. I am going to be voting Democrat from top to bottom. If you put a stone to run as president, in the Democratic Party, I'm going to vote for that stone. That is how existential I think it is for what's going on. So, Breach, I don't need any convincing at all, my dear sis. Okay, Egberto, Biden talking about his teammate, Vice President Trump, was a horrible gaffe in the news today. Yeah, but that to me, that gaffe isn't really a gaffe. It is a gaffe, but I do it all of the time. When Tim Wise came to get an interview today, earlier I was talking to Keith Ellison, the Secretary of State from Minnesota. And I kept on, hey, Keith, I was talking to Keith quite a bit. And then when I called out Tim, I was like, hey, Keith, come on over. Time for your interview. The person I was talking to was Tim Wise. So that Biden made that gaffe is no big deal, right? I don't think it's a big deal. Now, I still would prefer a younger candidate. If they brought in a younger candidate, so be it. I don't care. I'm voting Democratic the entire ticket. Okay, so, but again, if all of us do our job, that landslide that I've been talking about for a long time will in fact occur. Okay, continuing to read the text messages from you guys. Bear with me a second as I continue. Lee Grant says, all the left has left is hysteria. No, the left has policy. You guys have hysteria. The left has policies. I tell you what. You give me 5 policies. No, not give me 5 policies. Give me one policy that the Republican Party of 2024 stands for. And I'll give you, for every one policy, I'll give you 5 Democratic policies. Let's start. Give me one policy. I guarantee you can't give me a policy. All right, continuing. We have, para ver, ¿qué más estoy aquí? That was a single passage of Jefferson, correct. All right, I'm scrolling down, guys. I'm scrolling down.
They printed out.
Day 280 since October 7th, 38,345 Palestinians were killed. True. 126,640 casualties. Thank you for all that information that you continue to provide. Let's see. Lee, those who are evil don't see what they've become, then accuse their opposition of the worst their side is doing. Look through your Facebook feed. See how many posts are meant to inflame, how many are inciting fear, and you'll realize that your social media is doing what your social media is doing to you and others like you. Very true. Okay, let's continue here. At least 15 arrested journalists are held under administrative detention, policy by which a military commander detain person 6 months without charge and extends unlimited time. Are you waiting for?
We wanted to see if you wanted to speak to somebody.
Who are we talking?
Joseph Geevarghese, the head of Our Revolution.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Actually, bring him over and we'll talk to him. That's fine. Yeah. Anyhow, let's go ahead. Continue, and we have Israeli Special Forces raids in Jenin, West Bank. Continued. I'm continuing reading down. Michael says, "Oh, I remember that name yesterday. Lee was banned from Twitch for reason." I didn't know. Okay. I'm scrolling down, guys. Bear with me a second as I move forward. All right. Bruce says, Kamala will be ready if required. She needs to be ready. But Biden is the candidate that will win. I hope that Biden is the candidate that will win. Like I said, I am only doing the thing that will win right this minute. We have the president of Our Revolution coming to speak with us right now. Come on in, my friend. Come on in. Let's get the radios going. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Great. You are Joseph.
Last name's Geevarghese.
Okay, you're with Our Revolution.
Yes.
Are you the what part of Revolution do you represent?
I am the executive director of the Revolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's get busy here, folks. You know, progressives are in style now. We are the real ones. We're here with Mr. Geevarghese. Did I say that right?
Joseph Geevarghese.
I got to read this. I'm so sorry. Joseph
Geevarghese.
Geevarghese. Okay, I get it. Listen, my name is Egberto Willies. I bet you can't say it.
Egberto?
Thank you. I don't feel bad. You mispronounced my name. I mispronounced your name. So we're both from...
We're even.
I'm from Panama.
Right on, bro.
Yo soy de Centroamérica. You know how that goes. Anyway, tell me about Our Revolution. What are we into right now?
So Our Revolution was founded by Bernie Sanders after his 2016 presidential bid. Our mission is to keep the progressive electoral base mobilized over the long term, and really to do 3 things, right? To elect down ballot progressives at every level of government, to fight for progressive issues like the ones that Bernie ran on, whether it's healthcare for all, whether it's climate justice. And the last part is to make sure we transform the Democratic Party so it's not a corporate-owned Democratic Party, but it's a party that represents the will of the people.
Well, let me just kind of forewarn you. I am a Bernie. I was a 2016 Bernie delegate. I campaigned for Bernie. I support Bernie. I am not only support Bernie, but I am also a paid member of Our Revolution, which means I subscribe to the Revolution. So, I mean, let me just tell you that we are on the same wavelength. Now, here's what's important, right? I love what you say about we have to decorporatize the Democratic Party. But the other thing that I love and why I think Bernie must be respected so well is Bernie has been pragmatic in his progressivism. In other words, he's caucusing very well with the Democratic Party, and in doing so, along with his flank. And you tell me, I think we've attained more progressive policies under Biden with the support of Bernie than any other president since Roosevelt. Please tell me more.
No, I think that's right. And look, at the end of the day, this is, we're playing an inside-outside game.
Right.
Right. On the outside, we have elected, dozens of progressive members of Congress. We have elected thousands of down-ballot progressives. All of that put together, right, shows that Bernie's not a lone voice in the wilderness. There's actually a movement, and that gives people like Bernie a real seat at the table when he's engaging with the administration, and that's what's helped us achieve as much as we have. That being said, have we gotten everything we want? No. But it's on us as a movement to keep fighting, to keep organizing, and to make sure the Pramila Jayapals and the Bernie Sanders have a movement behind them when they engage the establishment Democratic Party.
Let me ask you, you just called from Camila Jayapal, and is Ro Khanna a part of that membership as well? The progressive
yes, Ro Khanna is a leader in the progressive movement.
And AOC, of course.
That's right.
And others. I mean, what is the position of Our Revolution with Biden right now? Let me just say this. I hope we're promoting, no matter what happens in that resolution, that everybody needs to go out and vote, first of all, and everybody better start voting straight Democratic ticket this election forward. Your thoughts?
So, amen to all of that. I would say Donald Trump and the far right are an existential threat to democracy, and we have to do everything in our power to evict him from any office. And that being said, we surveyed our members. 34,000 people responded. Mm-hmm. These are progressive voters who are activists and donors like yourself.
Right.
And I would say they're the base of the Democratic Party. We surveyed our members, 34,000 people, 70% said that they're not sure that Biden can beat Trump.
Right.
So there's a real doubt in the minds of progressive voters about who is the best person. And it's uncertainty.
Right.
The second part of that is 70% think that Biden should step down. Those are related. At the end of the day, I think we start with the premise that you put forward. We have to get everyone to vote and defeat extremism in our country. And the question for us is, who's the best, the strongest, most energetic candidate that we can put forward to do that? And is Our Revolution taking any positions, or they're just sort of letting things play by? Look, I mean, at the end of the day, Joe Biden and his inner circle will make a decision. Our members have spoken, as have AOC and Bernie. Let me interrupt. I think AOC came out in full support of Biden. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just want to make sure. Yeah. No, that's right. I think I think the administration, the campaign will take all of that into account as they make a decision about the best course forward. Let me just say that on our chat we have, just wanted to say shout out to Joseph. I'm a big fan of this work for Our Revolution. Woo! And I used to attend the meetings regularly during the pandemic. I still attend some of our local Zoom meetings that we have with Our Revolutions. It's trying to keep it, as you know, these organizations have their lulls where they go through their lulls, and then the politics comes up and it's real active again. What are you finding? Are you finding that the organization is growing? Are you in stasis, or where are we? Look, at the end of the day, a lot of people just focus on what's happening at the federal level. Right. The truth is, 1,000 flowers have bloomed since Bernie first ran in 2016. Right. There are, one of the panels that I co-hosted this weekend, at this gathering, included Megan Green. She was a Bernie delegate in 2016. was so inspired, went back to her hometown, St. Louis, ran for the Board of Aldermen, then became president of the Board of Aldermen, then ran a slate. And we now have in St. Louis progressive control of city government. And they're passing things like union rights, expanding housing, universal basic income. So there's amazing stuff that's happening that may not be on the front page of the New York Times. But what I would say is I think the progressive movement is very vibrant and dynamic at the local grassroots level. And there's a lot of examples like St. Louis all across the country.
You know, it's interesting because everybody talk about the progressive movement as if we have to really move people. I mean, if you detach ideology, if you detach names and all that sort of stuff from all that we believe in, and you ask every American citizen what they want,
yes,
it turns out that what they want is what we are offering.
That's right.
And the thing about it is, what we, in my humble opinion, need to learn how to do is frame a message that doesn't allow the others, both the right and the neoliberals, from phrasing what we are not asking for, what we are demanding, as something we have not earned.
Yeah, that's
because we've earned. We are the ones who built this country. We are. I mean, the existence of billionaires are really things on our backs. So when we're telling them to pay more, we're not asking them to do a favor. We're asking them to return the loot.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
I am completely with you. And look, at the end of the day, we the people, right, we want that which is basic. We want a decent place to live. We want food on the table. We want a good job. We want to make sure our kids have a better life than we have.
Right.
We're not asking for something that's outrageous. We're asking for basic fairness. And that's why we founded this country. We did not want power to be concentrated in a single individual, whether it was a king or a set of private companies, monopolies, right? That was the foundation of this country, was to let every person live out their freedom and autonomy so that they could live the life that they're called to live. And that's what our politics is about in the progressive movement. And I think if you remove all the name calling and the disparaging and you just lay that out, I think 99% of Americans agree with us. And
well,
the 1% that don't.
Look in the camera and give us a closer. Let us know where we go from here.
So, brothers and sisters, where we go from here is we keep fighting. We have made dramatic strides since 2016 in terms of advancing our agenda, whether it's healthcare for all, whether it's climate justice, whether it's union rights, raising wages. And we've got to keep hope alive because we've got to keep organizing to keep winning on the progress that we've made. So for all of the listeners out there, this moment might feel a little self-defeating. We may feel discouraged. But at the end of the day, where we've come in just less than a decade is remarkable.
Joseph, let me tell you, I have no despair. I have no fear. I think we're going to see a landslide that's going to surprise people. And, you know, for all of those that think I am naive, I've been at this for decades. I think the Republicans have laid a pathway that has so inflamed women, so inflamed the poor, so inflamed so many, that if we do our job, and I'm talking about our revolution, I'm talking about the progressive movement, I'm talking about everybody, if they do their job, there is absolutely no way we don't clean house from municipalities to states to federal, but we've got to do our job.
Amen to that. And our job, whether as members of our revolutions or just citizens, is to organize.
Absolutely.
And is to have conversations with our neighbors and our friends and our families and organize people to get out and vote and to be active in the public arena. And that's how we win. And that's how we've won all through our country.
Joseph. Okay, let's have a talk. Remember, you couldn't say my name well either. Joseph Geevarghese.
That's getting closer, brother. Geevarghese.
Joseph Geevarghese.
Yeah, you right.
I got it right.
Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Actually, my brother, thank you for being here. All right.
Cool.
All right, you know what? Let me tell you, before you go, I always have to do this with everybody that gets an interview, right? We have to do this because when I'm processing in the middle of the night at 2 a.m, and my mind go crazy, I got to do it. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
It's great. Keep up the great work.
Thank you
and,
for having me.
you know, I mean, if you see Bernie, tell him I say hi. I was one of his delegates back in 2016.
That's awesome.
I was in Philadelphia, and actually we were making sure to, you know, we were going crazy in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And I was one of the peacemakers between the delegations. So I mean, we get things done right. So
we're working the good fight.
We're working a good fight, and we're winning. And you are doing important work. So keep it up, sir.
All right, brother.
Have a good one. Bye bye. Anyway, folks, that was, and again, I was getting some help here. Geevarghese. They're right. I got it right. She, you know, why didn't you tell it to me the way she did? Huh? Geevarghese. All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good one. Anyway, that was the head of the Our Revolution, which is a group formed by Bernie. What can I say? We meet everybody out here. Let's see. Persuasive barrier. Let's see. Michael Rudnan says, persuasive barrier never considered secular talk as militarizing apathy, but I'll check for that when I watch his videos. Okay, let me scroll up a little bit to read more. Michael says, let me scroll my FB feed real quick. Getting money out of politics, living, wages, environmentalism, fact-checking, democracy versus authoritarianism, student loan forgiveness, welfare benefits. Yep, that is what people want. Persuasive barrier says, why does it matter who the person is when facing fascists? Progressives should be shilling and spinning everything in their direction, regardless of who is the nominee. Persuasive barrier also says, put apathy aside, keep pushing. I agree with you 100%. Hey, persuasive barrier, you're on a drive right now. Let me go and continue. Biden should dissolve SCOTUS. It's not constitutional to do that, so he can't do that. But immediately nominate 13 new judges. Now, what we can do is have 4 more judges, 1 judge per district. That'll solve the problem, right? All right, persuasive barrier will say, if you're not inspired by a candidate, be inspired by the opposition. But the authoritarians we're facing, that's immigration. That's enough. I agree, persuasive barrier. Michael Rodin says, I think I read that one already. Scrolling down. Okay. All right. I think that's all the messages that I have that I'm going to read right now. I must tell you guys, I'm like extraordinarily tired because I've been doing one interview after the other. But Paul Fleming is in the house. Joe Segal is in the house. Joe Segal says, Biden could be the greatest president since George Washington by resigning and giving America our first woman president. A woman can beat Donald Trump and 2095. Thanks. Look, I have no problem if that occurs. Like I said, I'm voting Democratic no matter what. But that's a good thing. I would actually, Reverend Mark Thompson yesterday came on an interview, and I don't know if I got this part on the radio or not, but he said the person we should run is Kamala as president and Whitmer from Michigan as vice president. And I sat back and I thought, and I said to myself, oh my God, that's intriguing. Maybe that'll bring 2 women on the ticket. I would love that. I would love to see 2 women on the ticket. I mean, we've had testosterone running the country for a long time. I don't think they can do worse than what has been done at all. In fact, I think if you take a look around the world, women have made better heads of states than men. If you doubt it, let's look around the world. Women have been making much better heads of states than men. Of course, Margaret Thatcher notwithstanding. But then again, was Margaret Thatcher a woman? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't get me, British people. Don't get on me, British people. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, Lizard Queen says, this is like a very weird episode of Veep. LOL. I hope that means you like it. I hope that means you like it. I think you're talking about the Biden issue, though. I think that's what you're talking about. Anyway, folks, let's see. Who else is there? Joe Segal said, who better to counter the attack of women's rights than a woman Democratic candidate, Kamala? That's a thought. British MCP says, we Irish hated Thatcher. I know Thatcher was not a good person. Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama ticket? Yeah, I'd vote for them. Now, that would be taking it a bit too far. Do you think America is going to elect a black president and a black vice president? Come on. This is America. We're still trying to get over our demons, people. I would love to see that none of that mattered. Unfortunately, it does matter still in America. All right, we have, let's see, Stagen, and by the way, Stagen Bergengun is from Portland, Oregon. She's from Portland, Oregon. Paul Fleming, should we not be planning now for a fascist win? We should be organizing a resistant movement now. Well, I think putting a resistant movement today could be counterproductive in my humble opinion. And let me tell you in what regards I mean. I mean, that is assuming you think you're not going to win. I want to go under the pretext that we're going to win. The things that we should prepare for is how do we get around a fascist system? Okay, that's what we should be talking about in my humble opinion. But we'll do that. We'll do that. Anyway, folks, we are at 55 right now, which means it is time for me to tell you guys, support the program. And how do you support Politics Done Right? Many different ways to support Politics Done Right, right? And I'm going to try to pull it up right now as we speak. Okay, and I need to go ahead and, you know, it's hard. It's hard working on these computers on the outside, not having that big screen that I have in Houston. But we're going to do it right now as I bring up a new chat. So here we go. To support the program, what do? You can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. Politicsdoneright.com/support. That is the best way to support politics. Well, that is one of the best ways to support Politics Done Right. Just go there and select the option that you feel best in supporting the program. You can become one of our patrons. How do you become a patron? Go to politicsdoneright.com/patron. Patron is spelled Patreon. Patreon. Likewise, you can subscribe to our newsletter, our Substack newsletter. Become a paid subscriber. That's less than a coffee, folks. That's less than a coffee. And you're supporting the important work that progressive media, real, independent, progressive media provides to you. That goes at, you mean I didn't get that in? Let's see if I can do that now. It is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Of course, you can pick up one of the many books that I have. As I see it, where is it? There we go. As I see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. That is the genesis, folks. But anyhow, so go ahead and support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Do remember, click that. Say that you want to become a paid subscriber of Politics Done Right. Anyway, history shows that when the fascists get into power, the only way out is you know how. Anyway, I got to get out of here, folks. It's that time now. So, support the program and share the program. Make everybody know about the program. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.